All right. Good morning. Welcome to St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church for Sunday, November 26th. I am Reverend Kim Taylor. First, we'd like to start off with a land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that St. Bridget's Spiritualist Church is on Treaty 6 territory, the ancestral homeland of many First Nation groups, including the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, I'm very good, Selyu, Nakatu Sioux, as well as the Métis, whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries. Sorry that my naming is probably makes it sound disrespectful, but I don't mean that. First of all, I want to just remind everybody, December 2nd is our last event of 2023. I'm not sure how we got here this fast, but it'll be from noon to 4. We're going to have readers. Healing, reader, spiritual healing, spiritual trance healing, I guess. We'll have vendors, and so we're pretty excited about this. We've got some really cool independent craft type vendors and things like that. So it'll be a good way to start getting your Christmas shopping up. Also, we haven't been mentioning this enough. St. Bridget's does have a pantry, and prior to 2020, we used to have stuff, but then there was not people coming in. So now we do gift cards. So if you require any help at all, please contact us. Don't be embarrassed. We've all been there. Some of us are currently there. Please don't feel embarrassed. We'll try to help. We have just gift cards for either Superstore or Walmart. If you are in a position to donate, we would appreciate that as well. Again, $25 either Superstore, Walmart, just places that people can get more for what they have. We just need people to surround and not feel that they're alone. We can't do a lot, but we can try to help what we can. All right. Do you have any other announcements that you can think of? No? We're good? All right. All right. So today, I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot of us, in the most part, struggle with, just because we're human and we have egos. So today, I'm going to talk about forgiveness. And so living in this human body, we often come across situations or other people who hurt us. This could be by words, actions, and a lot of times even inactions. This hurt can overtake all of your emotions. Sometimes it can take over every facet of your life, causing you to be angry, negative, pessimistic, or just plain sick and broken. This anger and resentment can affect relationships with your partner, children, friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, God, Creator, and even yourself. One of the most important things it can affect is your health, both physical and mental. Okay. Do you have something in your life that has made you so incredibly angry that even the mere mention of the person, situation, or thing makes you feel like you're just burning from inside, or that you're going to explode? Something that causes you to rant and to lash out? Nothing else can get into your thoughts? And this could be for yourself or even for someone else. And this is a very heavy emotion to bear. And it can be literally crippling at times. I used to actually live with this crippling anger. I was the reigning queen of grudges. This comes very deep within the generations. And it doesn't matter if you wronged me or someone I loved. I had a strong dislike and resentments for a long list of people. And this grew with each wrong that was presented to me. And I wasn't a very happy person. I was taught that anything that people did was always against us or done to us. Everyone had an ulterior motive. And I was gathering this anger like a starving person would gather food in a market full of fresh food, never realizing the weight of the basket, and it was near dragging on the ground, if not on the ground, stopping me from moving forward. The mere thought of forgiving these atrocities, and I'm exaggerating, but at the time it didn't feel like just, exaggerating. This would mean that I condoned the behavior, the action, or the event, and I lost the battle that I decided to take on. Forgiveness would mean that the people would laugh at me for giving up. I held grudges against people for people I loved, even long after that person forgot about what, had happened, and they weren't even upset, possibly even in the first place. But I was, because they wronged my friend. Interestingly enough, from my experience, and people I know, a long list of those people have had major heart events, health events early on. Most have suffered from depression, anxiety, and addictions, all wondering why life was so very hard on them and what they did to make it be that they suffer so much. And I suffer from depression and autoimmune diseases. And I'm not saying that this is the sole cause, because it's not. But my doctors always said, you need to reduce your stress. Little did I know at the time that I was the complete cause of all my stress. Myself and my dragging, bulging basket of anger and resentment was, even sometimes carried a feeling of hate. Then spiritualism came into my life, and the 7 principles. And we recite them for every service, and we can recite them, but do we really know which ones apply? And for me, the key ones, I'm just going to talk about the key ones. Personal responsibility for every thought, word, and action. That's one of my favorite ones. I had to take responsibility for my life and what I allowed to overtake my chance for peace and happiness. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their thoughts, their words, their actions. I said it in my head. It's not, it's okay. Well, no, it's not, because you're putting that in there. You're putting in that intent. You're putting in that seed. And as I said before, eternal progress is open to every spirit. So progress is open to every spirit. So I can change who I am inside and be proud, and no one will think any less of me for letting go of my convictions. What a concept. And it was life-changing for me. So I have some quotes on forgiveness. All right. For someone you love. When you hold resentment toward another, you are bound to that person or condition by an emotional link that is stronger than steel. Forgiveness is the only way to dissolve that link and get free. And that's Catherine Ponder. The act of forgiveness takes place in our own mind. It really has nothing to do with the other person. That's Louise Hay. To forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. In return, you will receive untold happiness and peace. That's Robert Mueller. This is a good one. Not forgiving is like drinking rat poison and then waiting for the rat to die. That's Anne Lamott. True forgiveness is when you can say, thank you for that experience. That's Oprah Winfrey. Be the one who nurtures and builds. Be the one who has an understanding and a forgiving heart. One who looks for the best in people. Leave people better than you found them. And that's Marvin J. Ashton. And then I got some quotes on the power of forgiveness. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. And that's Mahatma Gandhi. Without forgiveness, life is governed by an endless cycle of resentment and retaliation. And that's Roberto Azzagioli. I can't do these. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. That's Tony Robbins. As I walked out the door towards the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. And that was Nelson Mandela. And some quotes that I found that are very relevant now. Forgiveness is the most important thing. We all have to forgive what was done to us. The Irish people have to forgive, the African people, the Jewish people. We all have to forgive and understand the only way to stop the cycle of hate and abuse is to not allow yourself to get caught in it. And that's Sinead O'Connor. When I talk of forgiveness, I mean the belief that you can come out the other side, a better person than the one being consumed by anger and hatred. Remaining in this state locks you in a state of victimhood, making you almost depend on the perpetrator. If you can find it in yourself to forgive them, you are no longer chained to that perpetrator. You can move on. That's Desmond Tutu. So the most important person you, first of all, can forgive is yourself. Forgive yourself for holding this anger and resentment. This is ego. This is our we're human. Forgive yourself for dragging on that heavy basket on your own for all of these years. Imagine as a toddler and giving them the keys to life and giving them the most important lessons that you would like to have known when you were little. The lessons would all include forgiveness. Let that little one know that what their caregivers, parents, grandparents, what they experienced and learned is what hurts you now. The cycle that you can stop, the new cycle you can start at love and forgiveness. And Silver Birch has a saying, forgiveness does not enable you to make the adjustment, or you must pay price. But when you pray to forgive, you are beginning to put yourselves into harmony with the laws of the Great Spirit. For you are the beginning, and to look within yourself and to imagine yourself, and that is when real progress begins. So I leave it to you now. What has forgiveness done for you? And do you have any tips for those struggling with forgiveness? So I'll just see if there's anybody here that has any questions. All right, so we're just going to end the live service. So thank you for joining us, and we will be back, I believe, next week. Thank you.